Yeah, they made the most of those delays. I'll tell you what. How's enemy AI? It all comes down to what difficulty you play on. And again, I cannot stress enough. If you take nothing else from this stream, from anything I put out regarding AC Shadows, let it be this. If you play the game, you have to play it on expert difficulty for everything. It makes such a difference. I'm going to try to find a very specific clip here real quick to at least demonstrate kind of what I'm talking about. Okay. In Shadows, the way it works is that the enemy AI dictates what they're capable of doing, okay? In addition to like sensitivities, reaction times, because you got to remember, like when you're making an AI system and you're trying to balance it, all you're really doing is telling like the engine, okay, if there's a guy right here and he sees you, the player, like right here, all you're doing is telling, like on an easy difficulty, they don't notice you for like a 7-second timer or something, or only once you're within 10 feet. And so you can like gauge the sensitivities. If you crank all of it, it just means the second you enter this circle, you're spotted, alerted. If it's instantaneous, they can alert their friends. They immediately run off to sound the alarm, whatever it is. So in Shadows, the default difficulty basically separates everything into the levels you're on. So as you can see, this is one plane. If you think of it that way, like this is one level of height that this guy would be standing on. This area up here is a different height level compared to this one. On the normal default difficulty, if you are standing up here as Nawe or Yasuke, this guy can't see you. His vision doesn't extend above here. So it's just like he's always looking straight ahead and he can't see above him. And this is, you know, nice for players that maybe are not great at stealth, because it means that if you climb up here, you know, and then you want to jump down and stealth assassinate him, you can, because he's not going to notice you above him. He's not going to hear your footsteps. He's not going to see you. So it makes it significantly easier. That's the default difficulty. But if you crank that difficulty up, if you crank that bitch, his vision becomes a cone, meaning he can see everything on this level, of course, when he's looking this direction, but he can also see up, and he can see all of this as well. So he can see Nawe, just like you would expect, you know, because nothing's like more annoying than, okay, there's plenty that's more annoying, but you know, when there's like a guard standing here who's just like doing his patrol, and then you as the player are standing on like this rooftop, and clearly they should be able to see you. Clearly. I mean, it's a straight shot. It's, I don't know, like 80 feet away, 100 feet away. You're next to lamps. Like they should be able to see you. But on the default difficulty, their vision doesn't extend that way. So he could only see up to like here. But if you crank that, he can spot you. And it makes it so much more immersive. Not to mention that they then start to work together. They then will, like, this guard will run over until this guard, and then this guard will run over until that guard, and they'll all come rushing over. They'll work together to come at you. They'll go ring the bell that's over here so that they alert the guards in the rest of the castle, and the guards on the upper level will start, you know, peeking up and maybe shooting arrows down at you. It makes the game way better. And so if you heard anybody, or if anybody had a review or something where they were saying stuff like, hey, AC Shadows, the stealth is too easy, the stealth is not dynamic, check to see if they increase the difficulty, because they told us when we like got review codes, they said, experiment with the difficulty, try it out, it makes a difference. Which the creative director I spoke to when I was in Quebec, he told me he plays the game on the higher difficulty for stealth. He's like, yeah, I just think it makes it a little more engaging. Obviously, we have to think of people who are not looking for a more difficult experience with the game. But he's like, yeah, I play it with expert difficulty. One of my primary notes for AC Shadows is I think they should have a hardcore difficulty. I personally think they should. I think they should have it so if you're walking on the rooftops, it emits a much more sharp sound unless you're prone and crawling, and that sound should reverberate all the way through here so that, you know, you jump up, you're walking on those little tile steps, the guy that's standing down here should definitely hear that. As of right now, I think it's too forgiving. So if anything, like, I think a great addition to the game would be a hardcore stealth difficulty that just turns all the knobs up. I think that would be awesome. But again, if you take nothing else from this video or from this segment, whatever this ends up being, take this, that you should 1 bajillion% crank that difficulty. It makes one hell of a difference. It really, really does. And I'm glad that it actually can make a difference, because, you know, there's been plenty of examples of games where the AI sucks ass. And even when you crank the difficulty, it's like, it doesn't really change the AI. It doesn't really change anything from them. But I mean, in this case, it actually does, which is nice.